Well, hello, this is Gene Thorpe, Little Red Rooster TV, and today I wanted to talk about the Fender Amplifier Company, but more importantly than that, I want to talk about Leo Fender. And Leo Fender was such an interesting character when he started the company. Actually, he had 4 separate companies over the course of his life, maybe 5. The first one was Fender Radio Service, that would have been one. K&F Manufacturing, and that would be Kaufman and Fender. And Kaufman was a fellow that worked for Rickenbacker Guitar Company, invented the first vibrato, electric guitar, frying pan guitar, and that type of thing. They were partners in the 40s and had a partnership that lasted just a couple of years after Leo started his radio company. And then he went into the Fender Musical Instrument Company. That would have been 3. And then Music Man would have been number 4, Music Man Amplifier and Guitar Company, and 5, G&L. And G&L would have been George Fullerton and Leo Fender. Leo was an interesting guy. His first name was Clarence, so was my brother's, and I liked him because Leo, of all things, was really kind of an amateur piano player, very amateur, amateur saxophone player, never played the guitar, couldn't even tune a guitar, yet invented some of the most iconic guitars that have stood the test of time forever. He was born in between Anaheim and Fullerton, California. His parents were in agriculture, and he spent his whole life between Anaheim and Fullerton. And he born in Anaheim, died in Fullerton, 81 years old. Leo's uncle was the one that got him interested in electronics. His main love, I think, was electronics. He studied to be an accountant, worked for a tire store before, and for the city of Fullerton, I believe, in the early days. And because of the Depression, was laid off from both of the jobs and had to fend for himself, and probably that's where he got his entrepreneurial spirit. He worked all the way up until his death. He died at 81. And all the way up to the last day, designing things, building things, and all of that. He didn't go into the war because he hurt his eye and had a glass eye, so he was not able to go into the service, which probably gave him a lot of time to get started in the electronics. And thank goodness he did. And he was an accounting major, so when he started his business, he watched his own numbers and made good, solid businesses that stayed in the black. He sold the Fender Amplifier Company to CBS in 1965 for a large sum of money and moved on. Got out of the business for a little while, but continued to tinker. His hobbies were boating and photography. Now here's the interesting thing about him. He wasn't interested in photography as much as he was interested in the mechanics of cameras. He always liked the mechanical things and electronic things, and actually became a consultant for boat manufacturing companies, and always had a couple of boats. And George Fullerton and he himself would go out almost every weekend off of Catalina Island, and that's probably where they did a lot of their best thinking and that type of thing. So Leo was a very interesting guy. We're going to talk more about the Fender Amplifier Company. There were a lot of guys that came along that helped him in the company. And one of the things that he did that I thought was most interesting was he would surround himself with good musicians, good engineers. He wasn't intimidated by other people's talent, and he always had this hunger and thirst to tinker. So with that being said, we're going to move on to part 2 of Leo Fender and the Fender Musical Instrument Company coming up. So watch for part 2 coming up. This is Gene Thorpe, Little Red Rooster TV, signing out.